even the region of the Basques, which is Sociedad and Bilbao. They are, in fact, a completely different ethnic group. Their language is not even Indo-European and nothing related to Spanish itself. If you think about Spanish, Spanish is the Spanish in Spain is basically a combination of vulgar Latin, because the original settlers after the Romans were the Visigoths, the barbarians who basically got rid of the Roman Empire, the western portion. They were essentially a Germanic tribe. And of course, in year 711, the Moors came in. It's Arabic. They stayed there over 700 years. So it's a combination of the two. Both grammar is more related to Latin itself, but the vocabulary is very different. For example, what's the word for head or boss in Spanish? Jefe, right? And in Arabic, the word is kafa, which means head, but you can also use head to mean chief. What was I talking about? Oh, let me go back to kind of to organize my talk. If you want to know about what those ratings are, you can do Google searches. At this day and age of AI, you know, what's the sovereign rating of India, for example? Currently, it's BBB minus by Fitch, which means it's BBB, but with negative outlook. That's what that minus means. And according to S&P, BAA, BBB, and Moody's is also BAA3. Moody's have more final, BAA 1, 2, 3, BAA 3 being the highest. But that kind of gives me the idea that, government of India is paying S&P a little bit of money so that they can be kept at investment grade. Why? Because they want to sell their bonds to mutual funds, right? Or, yeah, this, anyway. Or government of Pakistan, B minus for Fitch, B minus for CAA 1 stable. So it's even lower than that. So they're at the lower end of junk bonds stuff. By the way, somebody other than Patel tells me, is there an old country named Pakistan? Anybody knows? No. But until 1947, when British gave up their sovereignty over the Indian subcontinent, what we now call Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh were all the same. One of the leaders of quite a bit of the population was Muslim, and most of them are Hindus. You have some Buddhists here and there. One of the leaders of the Muslim population, a guy named Jinnah, and I mean Gandhi was in favor of India being one thing. After all, the entire continent is named after the Indus River, which is entirely in Pakistan right now. It's one of those big rivers. that comes down from Himalayas. In fact, there are four more. That region is called what you guys know as Punjab. It, in Persian, it actually is Panjab. Literally means five waters. There are five big rivers that come down from uh, Himalayas and they combine to make the Indus River. That is the country called uh, India. And they basically decided, okay, we're going to partition the part of Indian subcontinent that was majority Muslim was going to be Pakistan. The rest was going to be India. And it turned out the majority uh, Muslims were actually on two different pieces. There is what we know now as Pakistan, which is effectively, places like Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore, but there is also the place that was closer to Iran, the so-called Balochistan. But you also have a lot of Sikhs. And the other was what we know as Bangladesh. So until 1971, I think, we had an East Pakistan and a West Pakistan. East Pakistan was Bangladesh. Of course, you got almost 3,000 miles in between. And finally, East Pakistan said, we don't want to be with Pakistan anymore because they're also different in terms of culture. The actual language they speak is Bengali. The language spoken in most of Pakistan is Urdu, and you have some Baluchi and Persian as well. And it's also different from Hindi that's spoken in what's now India. So that actually became three countries. Why? Because of the goddamn British. I don't think those guys would have killed each other that much if what Gandhi wanted happened. And once that decision was made, have you guys ever watched anything about Gandhi? At some point, he goes into hunger strikes because the Muslims and Hindus start killing each other, especially during once the partition was made. The Muslims who lived in majority Hindu regions had to migrate to Pakistan, and in Hindus that were in majority Muslim regions had to migrate to India, which means these guys saw each other during those and they started killing each other. There are a lot of movies about it, but one I would recommend is there's a movie, Gandhi, but there's an older movie, it's called Passage to India. Look up that movie. But a better way of ascertaining what market thinks of the credit rating is actually to look at credit default swaps. As I said, there are financial reasons why credit rating companies may overstate the credit worthiness. In fact, we've seen that quite a bit during the 2008 crash or before the 2008 crash. The kind of structures that you could make using those mortgage-backed stuff was even more complicated. For example, even the simplest structure, I could create